What's up, y'all? I'm Devon here again for Obligatory, bringing you another weekly roundup of music news, just as we do here every Friday. Today is September 1st, 2023. We're also going to be talking about the more details we've received recently about Sampha's new album, Lahai, as well as Pharrell letting it slip that he's got 12 new N.E.R.D songs that he's already worked on. Everything I'm going to talk about is timestamped if you want to jump around, but we'll get right into it with JID in this new album announcement. So in this Instagram live clip, it's like a minute long. He just gives some updates on new music. Here's pretty much what you need to know. The project is called Forever and a Day. He says it's damn near almost done. And he says it should be coming in fall, which pretty much all but confirms that this album will be out in 2023. And he said that this is a project that's coming out before his collaboration with Metro Boomin, which was previously announced earlier this year in March, which also kind of confirms to me that this Metro Boomin project will go well into 2024 before it's released. So this morning, JID has a 2-pack of singles out with Lil Yachty. Again, they now go by the Black Boys. One of these tracks features Babytron. Both of them are pretty damn good, and I would have never expected JID and Lil Yachty to collab in this capacity. But I gotta say, man, I'm damn happy about it. But given that we are now just officially 1 year removed from the Forever story, it's kind of wild to see that he's already right back with the battery in his back, ready to release multiple new projects. But that's what I want to hear from JID. We also got some really interesting details about Sampha's new upcoming album, Lahai, which was announced last week in an Instagram post. And it is set to release in October. But with an interview coming out via Vulture this week, we got much more insight into Sampha's mindset, mind frame during recording and writing this album. And I think in terms of what this album is about and why he's returning right now to release an album and what he wants to talk about most, it seems his newfound fatherhood is a central songwriting point, sort of an anchor of the songwriting perspective. Now that's something that inspires a lot of people to write great music. But I think a full circle component here that's really important is Sampha has lost both of his parents. One of his parents he lost pretty early on in life. And so this experience of having a daughter in the early stages of the 2020 COVID pandemic, it seems like those two experiences gave him so much to think and to write about and then ultimately record with this project. And he's quoted as saying the hurt and anxiety shifts a little bit from being worried about your own point of view to how many years am I going to be around? I want to help her survive through life. We also got some details about song titles and the sounds of certain songs from the way that the writer of this article described a lot of what he had listened to. The tracks that he mentioned specifically here are Suspended, Can't Go Back, the single Spirit 2.0, a song titled Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is a song named after a 70s novella about a seagull learning about flying, personal reflection, freedom, and self-realization. It's a book he says that his brother used to read to him. Inclination Compass, Timepiece, Evidence, and Satellite Business. So right there, at least we can tell there are at least 8 tracks on this album confirmed. And then sonically, it seems like Lahai could be this collision course of live and programmed instrumentation. One quote I really liked from this article says, sometimes a swift clacking piano line is hammered out by a programmable device and not by human hands. In at least one of these tracks, the piano is being used with more of a percussive tone than it is for a melody. One track in particular, the song Can't Go Back, has been described as an orchestral jungle track here, which really interests me. And so, of course, I'm really excited about how this album is going to move and feel and sound. I want to know what y'all think about the details revealed in this interview. Drop that down in the comment section. Of course, I'll be talking in there with you. But we also learned that Pharrell is working on new N.E.R.D music. Really quickly, if you don't already know, N.E.R.D is Pharrell's rock band, which features himself, Chad Hugo of the Neptunes, and Shay Haley. We learned about this from GQ, who got an exclusive excerpt of Pharrell's upcoming book. It's set to release later this month. The excerpt that they pulled and shared for an article is a conversation Pharrell has with Tyler, the Creator, that's in the book. In it, mostly they're talking about fashion. They're mostly talking about chains and necklaces specifically, but it's in the very beginning of this conversation with Tyler that he mentions that he just finished working on 12 new songs. The details that he gives are pretty large scale. He says this will have big choruses. He says, I wanted to do everything. I wanted feelings. I wanted the motherfucking great composition. I wanted great chords. I wanted to use chords I never used before and not just the dreamy ones. The ones that I've never done, that I fucking hated, but using them in ways to get to other chords where the changes are such a release. And then lyrically, the harmonies here all the songs are just rainbow harmonies. So again, I'm not exactly sure what all of that really means, but he also said the feeling he got in recording these 12 songs is a feeling similar to that of In Search Of, which is one of the really popular albums by N.E.R.D. It's a great album if you haven't heard it. And to me, that's kind of just something that artists say, you know, when they want to get you hyped up about something that they're working on. But, you know, he did also say that these songs don't sound like In Search Of, but more so the feeling of recording them is something similar to the feeling he got recording those songs. And I think it's also important to keep in mind that this is coming out of a book that's released later this month that I'm sure was finished earlier this year, if not last year sometime. So whenever he actually recorded these songs, I mean, that could have been months and months and months away, but there's a chance he's worked on more songs by now, or he's gotten closer to releasing an album. Maybe that's something we'll hear in 2024. Now we got to talk about Doja Cat. Doja Cat announced her new album Scarlet is coming out September 22nd. She posted a cover art for it, which features this creepy spider here. Well, when she posted this, some fans were kind of quick to notice that there is another album coming out on the same day that had pretty much the exact same cover art. The other album is coming from a German metal band, and later we've come to find out that these album covers were licensed to both parties by the same artist who's from Portland, Oregon, which is kind of similar to something that happened in the 90s with two bands, Fountains of Wayne and Flamingos, who released albums in 95 and 96, which both had cover arts which used an image that was licensed to them from the same photographer. Doja Cat would go on about a day later to scrap that cover art and post the new one, which to me does look like it was illustrated by the same artist, so maybe she got a batch of photos and that was the one she picked and it happened to be the same as this other band. A little awkward, yeah, but you know, in the internet age, we can fix those things a lot more quickly than we could back in the 90s. The 25th anniversary of Cowboy Bebop is prompting an 11 LP box set of the music for the anime, written by Yoko Kanno and performed by Seatbelts. This has always been some amazing music. In recent years, it was finally uploaded to streaming services, which was a big deal for a lot of people. And now, for the 25th anniversary, there's this epic box set coming out, 11 vinyls, so many songs. A lot of this stuff is jazz, bebop, swing stuff, some blues. But if you've seen the show, you know how good the music in the show is. Artwork and the vinyl design and everything is still being rendered, but these are up for pre-order. Cameron announced this week via Instagram caption that his partner in crime and co-host of the sports talk debate show It Is What It Is and former Bad Boy recording artist Mase is now getting his publishing rights signed back to him over from P. Diddy, which ends a long-held saga in which Mase was in like a contractual obligation to P. Diddy for years and years under a recording contract. Didn't really allow Mase to get his career going or sign new contracts elsewhere. It was a few years back that he was finally released from that contract, and now we're getting the update, at least from Cameron, that the paperwork was signed this week for Mase to get his publishing rights back, which means he now has ownership over where and when and how his songs can be used. Dawson and SZA announced that they have collabed for a single and that single is coming out on September 22nd. I've seen it called No Seasons as well as Birds and Bees. And then Hayley Williams of Paramore shared a health update because they had to cancel 2 of the last dates on their tour. Also gave the confirmation that her and the band are yet again working on new music and are excited to work on something towards releasing something eventually. You can take a look at the full note that they released to their Discord, just a direct note to fans and kind of updating them on how she's doing, what she's been up to, and what they are working on as a group. The singer-songwriter group Haim also announced that they are working on new music, and potentially they've been in the studio with Jai Paul. They're quoted in a BBC interview in which they were asked, "What can you tell us about future plans? Looking ahead, will there be a new album soon?" And they didn't have a 100% consistent answer. They said hopefully, and that we've been working on music with some cool people. They said they might have been in the studio with Jai Paul, that they may or may not have made some music with him, that they cannot confirm or deny if that was the case. So take that for what it's worth, but that's something that we could be hearing on the horizon eventually. And then we got a pretty damn sad RIP out there for August 08, if you're familiar with the 88 Rising Collective, which also features artists like Joji and Rich Brian. August 08 passed away this week at the age of 31. He was a Def Jam recording artist. He was a singer-songwriter and wrote and produced for artists like Kehlani, DJ Khaled, and Jhené Aiko. The cause of death at this time hasn't been revealed, but it's very sad to see someone go so young. I mean, 31 is a ridiculously young age. Last thing we got to do here is show you the albums coming soon. The list of albums we've been keeping tabs on. with confirmed titles and release dates. There are so many great albums coming out, and we recently just did a video about the 14 most exciting new albums we were looking forward to come out from this month. So if you want to get a good rundown on what a lot of these albums are going to sound like, which ones we are most looking forward to and could potentially be super duper special, then that's a video we just posted yesterday. If you like reviewing music, you should check out our weekly album review surveys and our community album reviews that are posted on Instagram, which means we take our team's ratings of albums and combine them and aggregate them with your ratings and our followers' ratings. Our surveys also include like, what are your favorite 3 tracks? If you have a written review, you can submit that to us as well and we may feature it. I'm putting some of the albums we're soon to review up on the screen now, and the link to those album review surveys is down here in the description. And I'll be back here again next Friday with a whole new slate of news. So I'll see y'all then. Happy Friday, happy listening for now. Peace out. Thank you.